Hey everyone, DJ Porkchop back at you tonight in the garage one more time, otherwise known as DJP Studios, I like to call it. Makes me feel special that way. I got a studio. It's a garage. It's a 70-year-old garage. But anyway, uh, group I belong to. Another young lady covered this in probably the best little 2.5 minute video you ever watched. Uh, Ironically enough, it's come up quite a bit in this group that I belong to. My buddy Joe runs. Joe, he goes by Joseph of Borg. He runs a group on Facebook. I'll drop a link to it below if I get. I will. But anyway, it's come up quite a bit in there. People have been asking. Yeah. What you can do, what you can't do, restrictions. That's what I'm looking for. Woo, I couldn't spit that word out, and that's what we're faced with this year in 2020. Restrictions. What you can do, what you can't do, this, that. After you get the implant, possibly while you got the trial. She covered it really well. And ironically enough, I'm not trying to ride her coattails or nothing. The young lady did a fantastic job. I'll drop a link to her channel as well. Anybody who's viewing this, all 5 of my viewers, go check her out. Anyway, getting back. Ironically enough, I've posted a few times lately in the comments myself on my own channel here in the little bit of traffic that I get. I tell people all the time, and I continue to as well, that most of the time, more often than not, a very well-informed patient in the long run tends to get the best care, get the best results as well. If you're pondering a spinal cord stimulator, well, there's few things that you should know. One, this device here is unlike no other for a very few reasons. One is you get to try it before you buy it. That's pretty awesome. You actually get to trial it before you buy it. It's kind of like test driving a car. You get to test drive a car before you buy it. If you don't like it, you don't buy it. Same thing with a spinal cord stimulator. Try that with a replacement knee. Try it with a replacement hip, artificial heart, anything in between. You don't get to try it before you buy it. You either do or you don't. One of the two. Spinal cord stimulator, you do. That's point number 1. That's pretty awesome. Now you know. Point number 2. I believe the spinal cord stimulator is like the second or the third highest medical procedure type of thing that has things go wrong with it. Not necessarily the device, but as a whole, like procedure-wise, like infections, this, that, device going bad, etc., etc. It's up there pretty good. It's like number 3 on the list. You can check in, and I don't say that to scare anybody off, because I naturally have the device implanted in myself. Anytime you go anywhere, you could walk out your front door and get killed. What is it? The fellow who from Jack Daniels, the booze. That's where the old term "kicked a bucket" come from what I understand. Got pissed off, whatever the case may be, and kicked a wooden bucket and infected his toe, and he died from kicking a freaking bucket. You go under anesthesia in the hospital, things can go wrong. Anything can happen. So, I mean, but you need to know that. Get informed on that. Check into it. Talk about it. Don't be afraid to ask an anesthesiologist. Don't be afraid to ask your doctor, your pain management, whoever the hell you're talking to about this. Ask loads of questions. Ask. ask about, will you be able to get an MRI? I'm going to have to explain to you why, because I did not know prior to me getting to this, because they told me I was getting an MRI Mirage. I'm like, oh, cool, it's MRI Mirage, right? I'll be able to get an MRI. Well, whenever I got awake and was getting ready to go out the door, and I was still higher than a freaking kite from anesthesia, because I went home the same night, programmed and ready to, well, essentially, I went home with a few programs. Turned on, and they're like, hey, to make sure you understand, you can't get no MRIs. But the title in the thing says MRI, right? Yeah. That's kind of like a tax place having lightning bolts above their name, but they don't offer rapid refund, right? How can that be? So I didn't know for like 6 months after I got this thing that I could get an MRI. And then I couldn't. See where I'm headed with this? And then I was like, well, just a minute ago you told me I could. They're like, well, your device is, you can get in an MRI machine with the device. But unfortunately, the leads that we used are, you can't. What the hell? How can that be? So now I'm under the assumption all of a sudden again that I can't have an MRI. Why didn't I know this ahead of time, right? Because I didn't ask. I wasn't informed. And that's my problem. I didn't research, I didn't ask. I was in so much pain and agony and ready to cash in my chips and get out of life. And whenever I realized that, hey, this thing might work for you, I was sold. I didn't care. Put it in me. Let's go. The trial worked fantastic. I wanted to call it 100% relief. Doc said, well, we really wouldn't do that. Let's call it about 90 for your insurance purposes. Okay, fair enough. I don't care what we call it. Put it in. My mistake. Thankfully it worked, but that was my mistake for not being informed. So I'm about well over a year into this. I had a few things come up medically, and I met with a rep, and I was talking to him, and he said, you can get an MRI. I was like, no, not for me. One was and one couldn't. He said, no, here, I'm going to call call in and talk to the engineer. So he called, and he ran all my information, this, that, and they're like, no, he's good to go. He said, well, he was told his leads and the generator, otherwise people call it a battery pack. I was told it's called a generator. Well, whatever, potato. They're like, no, he's 100% compatible with MRI. It's got to be turned on, but I don't understand all that lingo because, once again, I'm not informed. So lesson number 2 or 3, whatever the hell lesson I'm on, get informed. Ask. Then the restrictions, that MRI being one of them. No BLTs, no bending, lifting, twisting. They tell you 14 weeks. Some tell you 8. Some tell you 10. Doctors are doctors. If you put 14 painters in a room together, you'll get 14 different methods on how to paint a house. If you put 15 roofers in a room together, you'll get 15 different methods on how to roof your house. Joe and I made a mention the other day on a post in his group, and I mentioned CYA. Doctors go into CYA mode, otherwise known as cover your ass. I think they sometimes they do, like driving. Like mine told me, no driving a car for 14 weeks. He said, if I find out you do, I'll have to report you to your state, and we'll have to get your license suspended until further notice. What the hell? But I guess what he was trying to do is scare me into not driving. It's kind of like when a woman gets a hysterectomy and all that woman stuff. Don't care to go into. They tell them not to drive. It's I guess they don't want them pushing on the gas and the brake pedal, and heaven forbid you get to slam the brakes on. They don't want you to mash the brakes on and bust an incision open. You got incisions in your back. They don't want you to break them open. And they CYA mode. People heal faster than others do. No two snowflakes are alike, and that's not a political term in my videos. Um, don't compare your heal rate to somebody else's. So when you go researching, don't ask somebody else, how long did it take you to heal? You could get ideas, but don't. I wouldn't base your decisions on what somebody else's healing rates were or what their restrictions were. I wouldn't do that. Um, being informed doesn't mean base your decision on others. You see what I'm saying with that? Don't be a fool. Um, like me, for example, I got implanted. I felt like $1,000,000. Implanted, not a trial, implanted. I was out here in my garage stripping the front half of the motor of my truck apart and rebuilding it 2, 3 days later. Stupid. And my doctor did go into CYA, and I didn't listen to him because I felt like $1,000,000, right? I should have listened to him when he went into CYA. I really should have. So, you know, be informed. Ask everything you could possibly ask. There is no dumb questions. None. If you think it's stupid, stop. You're going to have something implanted in your body that was not there the day you was born. Ask. Ask, ask, ask. Yeah, ask. I don't know what else to say about it. MRI is the most important thing. You need to find out about that. Ask about it. Ask about your restrictions for 100% certain. When can you, how long are you going to be off work for? How long you need help around the house for? How much weight can you lift? And for sure, no BLTs, no bending, lifting, twisting. That doesn't mean no bacon, lettuce, tomato. You can eat those. No bending, lifting, or twisting. Don't. Your best option going to be to get you one of them grabber things. Don't get that crappy one from Walmart with the suction cups on it that folds in half. That thing's garbage. Get the one with like the pincher claw on the end of it. It's kind of like rope operated. That one's a whole lot better. I had one of them sock machines that kind of like you use. I call it a sock machine that you use. Well, kind of like when you get a spinal fusion. They don't want you to. You can't bend because it hurts like a other truck driver. You put your sock over it, and it's got 2 ropes on it, and you slide your foot into it, and you pull, and it puts your sock. You just kind of slides out, and then magically your sock's on your foot. That baby was a dream come true. I found it easy to put dishes up on the countertop instead of up high, so I didn't have to reach up high. Anything I needed, it was going to be up high, tended to be on my countertop or on my kitchen table. Things were it was really convenient, but it was inconvenienced cleanliness-wise for weeks. Just stuff like that, man. Just, you ask everybody around you. Find out that kind of tricks and stuff. Ask. Anything you have to. I ask below, ask in any of my other videos. I'm more than willing to share. It's no biggie. We've heard it all. Well, trust me, we've heard it all. But anyway, I'm getting up on 15 minutes. I'm going to get out of here. Please ask. Get well informed. It doesn't hurt. It'll only help you. I'm going to end this. As I always say, take care of yourself, everyone around you. Be safe, be healthy. All that good jazz. Drink good coffee. Share good coffee. We'll catch you all around. See ya.